This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now.
Yo, what is up, 24/7 BUFvMIA? This is Sunday Sessions. S's, man. S's are hard on a Sunday. It's 1 p.m. It's Buffalo versus Miami. It's a crazy game. We're ready to get into it. Me, Scott, Mr. Ryan Thomas from the Thomas Take Sports podcast. Let's hit this intro and we'll get right into your game.
This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now.
What is up, everybody? Here we are. The best time to watch football. It's rainy out. Who cares? We're inside. We got some beers. We're talking Buffalo Bills football. Buffalo Bills versus Miami Dolphins. Ooh, the only undefeated versus undefeated game of the weekend. Holy jumping Jesus. Right over here, I got my boy, Mr. Scott Reed. Scooter, tell him what's up.
Hey, what's up, Bills Mafia? 24/7 BUFvMIA, FLX Mafia. We got a Sunday game. I'm excited for finally getting a 1:00 p.m. game, and it's a division rival, Dolphins. We've got some injuries to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about in this hour. So join the conversation, leave your comments, and let's have fun with this.
Oh, yeah, and right down here below me, we got Mr. Ryan Thomas, live from the Jeep.
Live from Studio One Jeep here in Niagara Falls, New York, as of now. Be making my rounds today for sure, picking some people up, getting the entourage together to not just take part, but to take over the local sports bar to take in, I should say, the Bills versus Dolphins. The way football is meant to be watched, Sundays at 1:00, rain or shine, we're ready for it.
Hell yeah. There's a lot of big news coming up here. Today we're going to get in, obviously, to this matchup. We're going to talk a lot about the injuries, and we'll be on live when the inactive list officially comes out. Let's jump right into it, man. We're glad to see all you guys here, all of our new Facebook family jumping in. Mr. Rob Mullen, Mr. Mike V. We got John Johns, Paul Rossi's, Jennifer Burgeon, Jesse Enek. Oh, man. I see. I got to read these before. Enriquez.
Yep.
Jesse, my apologies, bro. Let's go Buffalo. Thanks for watching.
Welcome.
Mr. Robert Badette, Jeff Weir. Oh, man, so many new people hanging out. We got Robbie from Let's Talk 716 Sports.
What's up? We got a Jets fan, CBF, Rico.
That looks right. At least you can spell, bro. Thanks.
And Scott Reed's joining us. Welcome, Scott Reed. I don't know if you've been on the show, Ryan, when my alter ego over there, Scott Reed, jumps in, but someone else by the name of Scott Reed's pretty sweet.
It does, it throws me for a loop because I'm like, Scott, we're right here talking. You don't have to write a comment, but actually it's a different guy named Scott Reed. So.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We're excited.
Hell yeah. So, look, let's get into these injuries, all right? Because I think that's the most pressing thing on everybody's mind. Ryan Thomas, what are you feeling about today's injury lineup here?
Well, obviously, these last few days have been tough for Bills fans. Not only Micah Hyde, being on IR for the, out for the rest of the season, placed on IR and out for the rest of the season, but we hear news that Jordan Phillips is out, Ed Oliver is out, and then late last night, Jordan Poyer, as Adam Schefter reported, that Jordan Poyer would be out for this one. And you can look at this one of two ways. It's easy as Bills fans to hear that news and kind of be down in the dumps about it because these are, cornerstone players. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, they've been a big part of what's taken place these last 5-6 years under quote unquote McBean. And to not have both of those guys for today is a tough pill to swallow. But you can look at it as, who we don't have and who's out. You can look at it that way and kind of be upset about it and frustrated. But I'm taking a different approach today. Waking up today, I thought to myself, you know what? When opportunity knocks, do you answer the door? And I'm asking that question to Kyer Elam, to DeMar Hamlin, to Jaquan Johnson, asking that question to all these guys that, 4 players that'll be playing in backing up the action that won't be playing today. And those guys have, 3 career starts among the 4 of them, maybe even 3 or 4, if my memory serves me right. So, this is a huge opportunity for these guys to not just start a game when they've had limited starting action, but to start a game as big as this one. As you said, Swank, the only game today that is 2-0 versus 2-0. And the Miami Dolphins put everybody on notice, I think. You can question the legitimacy of their comeback last week against the Ravens, who looked like they were playing Engage 8 the entire game and weren't covering anyone. Or you could look at it as, well, we know who Miami does have on that other side. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle could be quite possibly the best duo at wide receiver that the league has to offer potentially. So we have to take these guys seriously. I think this is the toughest matchup on paper that the Bills have had this season. And that says a lot because we faced the defending Super Bowl champs. We faced the Tennessee Titans, who were the 1 seed last year in the playoffs. But Miami has a new look to them. They have a new swagger. They have a new head coach. And it seems like the guys are buying into what he's preaching. And we know that the Bills players have bought into what Sean McDermott has been preaching the last 6 years. So this is a true test, a fun matchup. And I think this is the game of the week across the NFL. And it's time to answer the door when opportunity knocks, if you're Jaquan Johnson and DeMar Hamlin especially.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a tall task. And, man, I got some stuff I want to get to about all that. I mean, obviously, we're going to be talking about the secondary all morning, basically. But, Scott, give us your take on what's going on here.
Hey, Miami fans. I remember my first beer. It was a long time ago. I got a little buzz, a little face change, and I was about, 18, 19 years old. You get excited about things. You get pumped up about things. You see the Bills roster coming out. The active list just came out about a minute and a half ago, and you guys are jumping for joy. We're going to beat the Buffalo Bills. Guys, the Bills have to stand up this week. They've been, during the preseason and offseason, there's been talks about their depth and how they have the best depth chart in the league. It's time for us to show that. As far as our safeties go, listen, these guys have been under the wing of Poyer, Hyde, and White in their ear training camp all the offseason, and in the same locker room, the same film room, and they understand Leslie Frazier's defensive scheme, which still hasn't been figured out by the Super Bowl champs of last year and the number 1 seed in the AFC of last year. I think we'll be fine. Miami Dolphins fans, I think this is a game where you're going to understand how actually far back in this AFC division you are when the Buffalo Bills secondary team comes in and puts a pound into you. I don't see their defense being able to stop this offense. No one has. And until something comes out where Diggs and Gabriel Davis and Knox and Singletary and Allen are all injured and their whole line is not showing up, then I can start worrying about it. But our offense, it's a situation where Tua is going to have to face Josh Allen. Not face him face to face, but he's going to have to get in a shootout with him. And it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, not in this NFL, not this year.
Yeah. I like your confidence. I really do. And I got to tell you, I'm right there with you. I want to talk about these inactives really fast because there is a name on this list that I did not expect to be on, and that is Mr. Mitch Morse. So Mr. Morse is inactive for today. I'll go over the complete list. Khalil Shakir, Dane Jackson, we knew that. Tommy Sweeney, Jordan Phillips, we knew that. Jordan Poyer, we assumed that. Mitch Morse and Ed Oliver. Now, when Mitch came out for them plays last week, the line did not perform quite as well as it did when he came back in. I'm pretty shocked, actually, that he's not. Are you guys shocked about this?
I didn't even know he was on the. I have to check back. I didn't even know he was on this list of limited, did not participate, all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless the Bills are like thinking, well, screw it, man, because like we need this for the long haul. That's the way I think this is going. I think there's people that are ready to go that maybe they're gonna say, nah. I think Ed's on that list unless he re-aggravated something during the week. I think basically they're saying we're in this to win a Super Bowl. We're not worried about one game down in Miami. We can still compete with our depth. We have faith in our guys. I think that's what a lot of this is saying right now. Obviously, with the Jordan Poyer news becoming official now, you're going to have all those young guys back there. What I wanted to say about that is, aside from Jordan Poyer last week, the whole second half of that game was played with the starting three of the starting guys that you're going to get today. You know what I mean? And they gave up 0 touchdowns. And that was a third quarter that was the Titans trying to catch up, trying to make the game competitive until it got way out of control and they just threw in the white flag, right? So
A blessing in disguise, Swank. Get these guys their reps in a week before they're going to have to be right on the spotlight. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. So, to me, the secondary play, man, Hamlin and Jaquan Johnson have been chomping at the bit to get an opportunity. We've been talking about them waiting in the wings. We've been talking about how do you bench somebody like Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde that are still playing at such an elite level. There's no way. And they've just been sitting there and they've been learning and they've been taking it in. Now, yes, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde bring a certain commanding leadership to that secondary. They help people. They help Tremaine Edmonds get in the right spot, for Christ's sake. So what we're going to need right now is some of these other leaders on this defense to step up. You know, you're going to need Tremaine Edmonds to step up. You're going to need some of these veteran secondary players to get in there and be like, I'm taking control of this situation. And I think Jaquan Johnson, I think Taron Johnson is one of these guys that is going to be adamant and crucial to this game. And just making sure that they're there. Now, I have all the faith in the world in Leslie Frazier. They knew most of this was coming all week, you know. And we talk about it all the time. Scott references it all the time. The scheme that these guys play is really what puts them in a spot. Jordan Poyer was not an all-pro when he came here. Micah Hyde was not an all-pro when he came here. Together in this system, the way they've been playing, the way they feed off each other, the way they feed off the corners, they are. So I think you got to have faith in the system that got these guys to the spot that they are. And you also have to have faith in Mr. Brandon Beane. Mm-hmm. And the depth that he's already provided. Now, as far as the D-line's concerned for me, we didn't have Ed Oliver last week. We didn't have Tim Settle last week. Now we don't have Jordan Phillips, and we still don't have Ed Oliver. So I'm swapping Settle for Phillips. And Phillips is a machine, and I love him to death. But Tim Settle got a little bit of energy. Tim Settle's got some moves.
I was saying, so Ed Oliver playing may have been decided on whether or not Tim Settle could play.
Yeah.
So I believe, you know, you'll never know 100%, but I believe if Tim Settle couldn't perform, you'd probably see Ed Oliver on this active roster.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So here's the other thing. Like we kind of did this last week where we kind of like left some dudes off this list, man. Like Boogie, right? We don't talk about Jones a lot either, but Boogie, he's been balling out in his opportunities this year, man. Like,
Yep.
I mean, any chance he's gotten, 2 fumble recoveries, applying pressure, playing all around. I mean, he's making the most out of his rotational reps. You know, Von Miller is a goddamn godsend. That dude, you know, he's affecting plays even when his name's not being called. So, I'm okay, I think, with the line. The line is going to need to show out today to make them young secondary players a little more comfortable and maybe not have to quite think as fast as they would if it's a 2-second release out of Tua's hands.
Which he's not going to do.
No.
Yeah, I agree with you, Swank. I think if we're just looking at this game, Bills defense versus Miami's offense, like those moments in the game when it's Buffalo's D against Miami's offense, our front four, and in particular our front seven, through the first 2 weeks of this season, arguably, I could easily make the case, and I think you guys would agree with me, our front four and our front seven as a whole, I guess you could say, has been the best in the NFL. Yep. We rarely blitz, and yet we're coming up with sacks each and every week so far this season. I think that's going to change today in terms of how we approach Miami. I've watched Tua for a long time, since his freshman year at Bama, really when he first got that action at Bama. Even when Tua was successful at Alabama, when he was hit or hurried or pressured, that's when he would start to make not just mistakes, but horrible throws, consistently not throwing a spiral. I'm not even talking accuracy issues. Mm-hmm. His ability or inability to not throw a consistent spiral pass is something that I haven't seen with a starting quarterback in the NFL in quite some time. And I know he had a great week last week, but it was his first great game. And it wasn't even a great game. It was a great half that he's had in 2-3 years. You can't say the same about Justin Herbert, who was drafted after him. You can't say the same thing about Joe Burrow, who was drafted obviously before him, first overall. When looking at Tua, my approach to it is defensively. If you pressure him, if you hurry him, whoever they have on the field at wide receiver, Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, it doesn't matter, because if Tua can't get them the ball, they're irrelevant. They're just standing on the field waiting for the ball to be thrown in their general direction. Whereas on the other side, Josh Allen is, to my knowledge, fully healthy. Stephon Diggs this season is the best receiver in the whole entire NFL. I don't care what anyone says. Uncoverable last week, uncoverable against Jalen Ramsey. Come get it. I want to see Miami try to approach the Buffalo Bills offense the way we will approach Miami's offense. I think Buffalo's defense is going to be headhunting for Tua, trying to go after him, trying to get at him early and often. And we saw what they did to Tannehill last week. We saw what they did to Stafford. I don't think that changes this week today against Tua.
No, man.
You know, it's Stafford's got the arm strength to fit balls in tight areas. When I look at Tua, he does loft the ball quite a bit. He does not. He lacks the arm strength. And with this zone, it's going to be hard for him to fit the ball in any kind of freaking area that these wide receivers are going to be in. And if you bring pressure and add pressure to it, his balls are going to sail. He's going to come short on a bunch of them. This defense could easily frustrate him, bring a couple extra blitzes. But that defensive scheme that Leslie Frazier has, where he drops two back in the zone and has that umbrella, like someone said in the comments earlier, keep it in between the 20s. And if you can keep him, take the ball away from him from the outside and force him to throw the ball inside those the lines, he's in trouble.
Inside the hash, of course.
Inside the hash, because his numbers are horrible there, because he can't see anybody coming across the middle. If he does complete the balls, it's the high passes in the back of the end zone to Gesicki, where that's what you're supposed to do. But he struggles in there, and if they can shut out the outside the hashes, they'll be perfectly okay.
Our boy Shane Becker says dirt nap all day. I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Epinesa sent him out of the game last year, if you guys remember.
Oh, yeah.
And they can
that was
bring
the only
that
thing
same
Epinesa
pressure.
did last year. I remember. I'm going to tell you guys, we say it on the show all the time, man, on here and on the K-Gun. If you rattle the quarterback, it does not matter who they are. Look at Tom Brady when he gets hit or pressured. Look at Aaron Rodgers. Look at anybody that you can name. If you can find out a way to apply pressure, and that's the thing with this front line that we keep talking about, they have successfully applied pressure with just 4 badass dudes. Like, on the line, those dudes are headhunting you. Now, if you threw a blitz in there here, look at what happened with Tremaine Edmonds when he slid through the line. Destroyed, blow it up. I mean, it's anybody. You're thinking too fast, and we already know he doesn't like throwing over the middle of the field because he can't see. He's admitted that publicly like a moron, you know? So, like, to me, you got that zone coverage in the back end. Tell me that Mr. Von Miller isn't in the locker room right now hyping that front line up like sons of bitches. We got to do our job today. He came out earlier in the week and said, I've been on plenty of Super Bowl teams that had to deal with injuries, and that's where you find out where the rubber meets the road. You have to be better than that. You have to get through it. You never get through a whole season where everyone stays healthy. It never happens. So this is adversity, and you got to face it. I do love how it's 11:51, and I think that this has been a common thread throughout the week. Nobody is talking about this dude that we have on our team that I think could maybe like sneakily, single-handedly win this game for us. And that's he's a little guy. Josh Allen. Josh Allen is our quarterback. Josh Allen is the father of the Miami Dolphins for the last 7 times they've played. Are either of you guys worried about getting in a shootout with Tua?
No.
No way.
Triple team Hill with 3 of these young secondary players and get a guy on Waddle, and I don't care. Send him on his ass and let Josh Allen play his game. Gabe Davis is back.
Yep.
Gabe Davis wasn't on that list. He's got his full arsenal. I mean, yeah, you got Mitch out. That's the one bummer to me now on the offense. But other than that, man, he's mobile. He moves the pocket. He makes exciting plays, I think, when he's running.
And you know what? You mentioned, obviously, we know what Josh Allen can do. All of us, anyone that's in the comment section, we all know what Josh Allen can do. But Josh Allen can throw in all the elements that Buffalo provides. I think it's an advantage that week 3, rather than playing here today in muddy, soupy, wet weather here in Western New York, Josh Allen's going to be slinging the ball in 80, 90-degree heat in that stadium. And there's a reason why his career numbers against Miami are better than any away opponent that he's ever faced in his now 5-year career.
I think he likes
Josh Allen goes to that stadium, that arm is nice and loose in that heat, and he's ready to let it rip. And I really think that if this game is a shootout, which is the worst case scenario for this game, guys, if this is a shootout, that means that Buffalo's defense didn't do their P's and Q's like we think they can. But even with the worst case scenario of this being a shootout, no one has been able to stop Buffalo's offense. Not Kansas City in the 13 seconds game, not anybody. Josh Allen's been the hottest quarterback in the NFL, bar none, far and away, since the playoffs began last year. And I remember I was on this show, and I said to you guys, what if Josh Allen can actually pick up where he left off in that playoff round, from that playoff round going into this season? And he has. So if he can continue to do that, there's all this stuff with Tua and all that, we'll see who the better quarterback is. We'll come away from this game knowing Josh Allen is miles and miles and miles ahead of not only just every quarterback, but Tua's down in the cellar, brought back to reality after one good half in 3 years, and Josh Allen's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, if not the best.
I wanted to bring up a quick point, and I've been thinking about this show like for the last 2 days. The Buffalo Bills on ESPN's defensive standings right now are the second best defense in the league behind the 49ers, it says, and that's according to like total yards. If you're going down the list, I can't count that many because we only have an hour, but I think Miami has got to be mid-20s, I'll give them. 25th in the league defensively. And that huge blowout win that they just had against the Baltimore Ravens, they are 32nd, their defense in the league right now. And maybe some of that is lopsided, right?
Good luck with that, South Beach. Good luck.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like, okay, last week's game, like that has a lot to do with those numbers in that standing. But what about the first week? It's an average. You know what I mean? If either of those defenses were worth a damn, they'd be up a little higher than where they are. Mm-hmm. So I am not worried about this offense scoring. I'm looking at the inactives for Miami right now. Myles Gaskin, running back, who cares? They got Eric Azukanma. You guys know that guy? Wide receiver. Couple tight ends, but Raekwon Davis, defensive tackle, he is out. Yep. That's a huge loss for those guys.
Yeah,
they're banged up at corner too.
Yeah,
they're banged up at corner
Xavier
too.
Howard's,
Byron Jones and Xavier Howard,
both banged up.
So
tell me,
Xavier Howard's got a groin injury. There's no way someone with a groin injury is going to be able to cover either Davis or Diggs.
Yeah,
and that Raekwon Davis injury, that's huge. That's huge. That means they're Zach Seiler from Baltimore. He was not that bad when he came in from Baltimore, and John Jenkins are going to have to fill that void. That helps us out with this whole Mitch Morse injury for sure. But we still got to worry about Christian Wilkins. He's a nasty son of a bitch from Clemson. I mean, he could still put up the numbers. But we've handled defensive tackles, two of the best defensive tackles in the league in the last 2 weeks, Aaron Donald and Jefferson. So, hey, I don't want to talk about their offense much because I don't think there's going to be an issue there.
No. That's where the game's going to be won for Buffalo, and I think Sean McDermott is salivating at the opportunity to allow these guys to step up, and it kind of goes to Swank's point earlier. Like, these guys have sat and sat, not just for weeks and weeks, they've sat for years, and now they finally have the opportunity to show what they're made of, and they have the opportunity to do it against a team that NFL Network, ESPN, and all the major networks, after one, I can't laugh about it enough, after one comeback effort, the one game that Tua has had in his entire career that is actually redeemable, a game that they were down, 28-7.
Yeah.
Now the national media is giving them their due after a week 2 comeback effort. Guys, we're in week 3. We've proven it year in and year out these last few years. Miami's got a long way to go with a new coach before anyone gives them their due as, oh man, this team is a legitimate AFC threat. There's a difference between being a contender and a competitor. Miami might be more competitive this year, but to call them a contender right now after 2 weeks is just, that's insane to me. It's silly.
The thing that completely infuriates me about that is that Josh Allen literally had to be growing and consistently make abnormal superhuman leaps and bounds season to season until season 3, when people started saying, well, maybe this kid has something. Tua has been mismanaged, I'll give him that. He's gone through this crazy coach carousel and all the drama and the Watson drama, and I thought he handled himself pretty well through all that. But as far as on the field play, they stunted his growth, and I just don't think that he has it. I think that if you look at some of these catches that Tyreek and Waddle had from last week, they were way off target. You are lucky that Tyreek Hill is as fast as he is, because he had to run back towards the ball on a lot of those. A lot of them were way high that they made great catches on.
Yeah,
a lot of them
there's a lot of contended catches that they had to make.
Yeah, and
what's eventually going to happen, he's going to get one of those guys hurt because he's not accurate.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's what's going to happen.
And nothing against, I just, to your point, Ryan, I can't believe that all of a sudden everybody's on the Tua train, and it's really just to be like, well, Bills better watch out. It's like every single week, Bills better watch out. Super Bowl contender, like the reigning Super Bowl champs, smoked them. Well, the Bills better watch out. The Titans have always had their number, smoke them. Well, the Bills better watch out. The Miami Dolphins are in town, and Mike McDaniel, their coach, looks like he was trying to do some kind of frickin' kombucha startup, and then he decided to coach the NFL instead. I don't understand.
Looks like he's going to a Halloween party as Steve Jobs.
Dude, his press conferences are ridiculous, dude. I don't know what is his deal.
I actually do like Mike McDaniel. He does have a fun personality, and to your point about Tua, I think Tua's a good guy, but the moment things changed for Tua was when he had that hip injury at Alabama. Prior to that, I think he was decent. I didn't think he was as legendary as Crimson Tide fans thought he was. But once he had that hip injury, he has not been the same guy. And they are lucky that they went out and paid a king's ransom to get Tyreek Hill. They knew they had to go make that trade, because if they didn't, Tua was going to struggle. And going out and getting a guy like that, what's the shelf life on a player like Tyreek Hill? This year, he's going to have a great year. Next year, he'll have a great year. But then the years after that, I feel like he's going to wane, because his game is speed, and he's on the wrong side of 30. So not only did they give up a king's ransom for a receiver for the next 2-3 years, but they paid him and extended him for a lot of money beyond the next 2 to 3 years. So we'll see how well Miami is orchestrated 3 years from now. And we know how well Buffalo was orchestrated from 3 years ago to today.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills are built for the marathon. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Miami, it's fine. It's fine to have success. It's fun. It's whatever. Dude, I cannot stand. Dolphins fans have just I think almost topped Patriots fans for me right now. I cannot believe this ridiculous narrative that is coming out of Miami, and just all the shit talk. It blows my mind. And I know that people outside of Buffalo might be like, oh, the mafia, blah, blah, blah. Dude, most Bills fans, it's all in the chest where it comes from. It's not like, and we suffered for so many years. Your team, the Miami Dolphins, is the only team to ever go undefeated in the entire the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, you had Dan Marino, there's like a lot of Don Shula. There's a lot of like great like history to like hold on to there, and at least you got that. And we have been struggling, and now we're there. Now just let us kick your ass, and just shut up about it. I don't care.
And I think I'd be pretty insecure too if I was a Dolphins fan, knowing that I had to wear those baby poo, baby vomit colors anytime I wanted to support my team. I mean, those are without a doubt the worst uniform color combination. I think their logo sucks. Honestly, like, I'm just talking. There's a lot of team logos that I like. I don't like the Cowboys, but I like their logo. I like the Denver Broncos logo. Miami, like their color combination, the teal, the orange. I don't get it. I get the dolphin teal kind of. I get it, but on a uniform, it looks absolutely horrible. Going back to what Swank said about the undefeated season, just rock those jerseys from that time and just stay consistent with that. Don't wear these ones that you're wearing because they do not look good, but they're going to look even worse today when Tua gets up from his back.
It's going to be mostly green.
Yeah, mostly
they're wearing whites
today,
but dude, all these, have you guys been following like any of that little stuff like that they do? And I'm sure every team does it, but the opposing team's bench is in the sun, and they always make the visiting team wear their dark color jerseys and they wear their white color jerseys. Like, it just like, I mean, I guess like any little thing to get ahead, game of inches, blah blah blah, chess match. But I'm like, this is some like juvenile
Horny
type shit, man. I don't know. What, are you gonna give us noogies before you go out on the field too?
Swirlies. Yeah.
Well, so let's talk offensively, just quick. I know, Scott, you said like we don't need to, right? But offensively, what are we gonna see today? Is it just gonna be a bomb fest, or you think they're gonna try to work in some Devin Singletary, maybe a little James Cook action out on the side? What are we doing?
I know it's early to say exactly what they're doing based on what Ken Dorsey does offensively. Last week I said potentially they'd be running the ball more because the Titans' run defense was so bad, but they didn't take it. They didn't jump on that opportunity. They did what they do when they air the ball out and they get a lot of yards and score touchdowns. I'm starting to see that in Ken Dorsey. It's one of those things that it doesn't matter who we're playing, they have to stop us. We're going to play our game. Xavier Howard's got that groin injury, yes. Gabe Davis is back, yes. I think you're going to see more air it out. Let's get ahead of these Miami Dolphins, who can be explosive as much as we make fun of them. They do have two of the fastest wide receivers and one of the fastest running backs, and Mostert back in the backfield that can catch the ball in the backfield. So let's get up on these guys as quick as we can. Make Tua panic, make him feel like he's got to come back and keep up with Josh Allen to where he's making the wrong decisions and just keep the foot on the gas. I think Ken Dorsey in this offense is going to still be running on all cylinders. They're bringing 5 running backs to this game and only 5 wide receivers, which I think is the lowest amount of wide receivers they brought to a game in a long time. But offensively, I don't see them skipping a beat at all. I just see Ken Dorsey just putting the foot on the gas and letting Josh Allen do Josh Allen things.
Yeah, man, I think I agree with all that. I think you're just going to go out and you're going to score on every drive. That's the goal. Go out and score and put points on every drive. Make it as easy for that D as you possibly can. And I don't know. You guys are like very calming for me. I think I was a little wild, a little round up this morning. Like a lot of bad news, and I was just like, but man, I keep going back to like, there's an unknown there. Like the secondary on our side, there's an unknown. Dolphins, they ain't got shit. They just don't. Like on depth for defense. So I'm like really just not worried about this offense. Ryan, what do you think? What's it looking like today?
I wouldn't be shocked if the first play of the game offensively from Buffalo was a big bomb from Allen to Diggs or Allen to Davis in a way that would make the Miami Dolphins sideline and their head coach swallow their Adam's apples and say, here we go. I mean, this is who we're playing. This is one of the best offenses in the NFL. And then from there, I kind of look at it like a boxing match. You know, you set the tone early with some body shots. You work the body, then go to the head, kind of head body mixture from Ken Dorsey, to where we're going to see guys peppered in here that I don't think we've seen a lot of action from. Guys like Dawson Knox, guys like James Cook, I could definitely see having an immediate impact in this game out of the flat. And maybe this isn't the game to do design runs with Josh Allen, because the only chance that Miami's got is to take Allen out of the game. And we know that they've tried to do that before, you know, in the game that went back to goes back a few years to Charles Clay. You know, they tried to hit Allen when he was down, rub him into the ground a little bit. Who's this new, you know, young stud quarterback that we can try to take advantage of? And Allen kind of persevered through that. But I think Ken Dorsey's smarter than what he was even 2 weeks ago. Whereas last week, you look at how badly they beat the Titans. Josh Allen had one rushing attempt. And that's the ingredient. How they beat the Titans last week is a similar performance that I want to see them repeat, to where Allen's not putting his body out on a line to get hit, you know, after the whistle before the whistle blows. So I feel like Ken Dorsey's as smart a coordinator as any. And these last few weeks, even though it's 2 weeks in, he's proven a lot as far as his capability to just utilize everybody within the offense. They have far more than just Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis. Brian Dable didn't really seem to get that over the course of his time. And I think Ken Dorsey understands that. And I expect just a well-rounded, solid performance from the offense. I could see, you know, everybody contributing to a degree in today's game offensively for Buffalo.
Man. Yep. You just lay it
They
all
did
out
try.
there.
They did try to go after Allen too.
I know.
Dirty, because when a team doesn't have talent, they have to resort to being dirty. They have to be more physical than what most teams are, because that's the last chance. That's the only chance they have, is to be more physical, because they don't have the talent.
Hey, and I believe Melvin Ingram actually has a couple personal fouls underneath his belt already in just 2 weeks this year. So he's the guy.
And a lot in his career too.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, good player though, but man, dirty.
Well, we got about 20 minutes left before we're out of here. 21 minutes to be exact, and we got to make sure that Mr. Ryan Thomas gets inside that nice adult beverage center that he's going to watch this game at kickoff. Let's talk a little bit about bold predictions, score predictions. Scott, you want to start this guy off here?
Yeah, I'll start it off. I am very confident in this Bills secondary. They're not a bunch of rookies there that have learned just learning the scheme this year. It's not a bunch of rookies there as far as the safeties that have gone through coordinator after coordinator the last couple of years to figure out what kind of schemes we're working with. Jamar Hamlin came in last year in the 6th round from Pittsburgh, who I thought was a great draft to potentially replace one of these two guys, Micah or Jordan. And then you have Jaquan Johnson, who came out of Miami, drafted in the 6th round in 2019, who's known as a ball hawk and a leader in Miami, one of the big leaders for that organization during that time on special teams, and he was a ball hawk that got a lot of interceptions. They've been in this system, especially Jaquan Johnson, for 3 years with Leslie Frazier, with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde in both their ears, learning the same scheme that Frazier's been putting together for years. I think this defense is going to be fine. My bold prediction is actually that ball hawk getting a couple of interceptions this week. They're going to test him. They're not going to realize what kind of weapon the Bills actually have in Jaquan Johnson, and he's going to get 2 picks, and that's going to be my, for sure, bold prediction. And one for sure. Are we doing score prediction too?
Yeah.
I changed it up a little bit because of the injuries. I'm going 42-21. I don't see this defense stopping this offense. Keep putting 40 points on everybody. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think the Bills defense will find a way to stop Tua in this offense, and the Miami Dolphins will be put in a place where they finally realize, and their fans, that we've got a lot of work to do to start competing with these Buffalo Bills. 42-21.
42-21 Bills. What do you got, RT?
Oh man, I almost choked on my words there. I have this game going down as a game that I think you're going to look at the defense and say Kaiir Elam was a rightful first-round draft choice. And I think initially week one, we're looking at it like Christian Benford's getting a start over a first-round pick. But no, maybe baby steps was the right way to go with Kaiir Elam to start the season. Kaiir Elam and Christian Benford are both going to be far better than what they have been because they're going to need to be. And I see them being those guys that are relishing this opportunity, as well as Jaquan Johnson, as well as DeMar Hamlin. But I see Kaiir Elam and Christian Benford having good days today because of the fact that Buffalo's front four is going to really rattle Tua today. Score prediction-wise, I could see Josh Allen having 4 touchdowns by halftime. So I'm going to go with, let's just say, 48-17. I think this is going to be a blowout. I really do. I don't think the Dolphins are nearly as good as NFL Network and ESPN and everybody else thinks they are. I'm not ready to anoint them as, threats to the Bills. I'm ready to say that they're more competitive than what I thought they would be. But are they contenders? Not quite yet. I think they're going to get brought back down to earth, and people will then question next week, can the Baltimore Ravens beat the Buffalo Bills? And Buffalo's going to keep answering that question with a simple answer, no. So there you have it.
Nice. I like it. Well, I'm gonna stay with my score prediction. 35-13 Buffalo Bills. And the reason I'm not shaking or rattling from that too much is because, like I said, scheme. I think this is a well-coached team. I think this is a next man up mentality. I think that we've come through injuries this season so far and been okay for it. A lot of people thought our season was over when Trey went down last year, and number one defense in the league. I think you got one of the top defensive minds, low-key, like the kids say, and Leslie Frazier. You got Sean McDermott. What 2 guys would you rather have on your sideline trying to make something out of this kind of situation than those 2 gentlemen right there, right? So I think that this game is still going to go as planned. I think Miami's got to prove it. I said it on the K-Gun Report Tuesday. They've got something to prove. They've got to beat us. We go down and play our game the way we do it. And, man, that's a comforting feeling, being a Bills fan this day and age, that we can control a game like that. So, yeah, 35-13. My bold prediction is that defensive line, everybody gets a sack. Starting 4 get a sack anyway. I'm going Von Miller. I'm going Russo. Each get 1. Russo keeps his streak going. I'm going Tim Settle. Gets in on the action. I want to see a little dancing. And I'm going to say Mr. Jones gets in there and gets 1. So
I like it.
It's got to be bold. It's got to be big. 4 sacks, 1 each. And, they can get more. That's fine. But
They probably will.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think this is going to look a lot more like that Rams game as far
Swank,
as
on the active list, was Terran Armstead, was he on the active roster?
for Miami.
They're starting left tackle.
Let me just check.
Who they sold 7 mansions for.
Last I knew, he potentially was not going to make this game. The reason I asked is because
you said
no left tackle.
Offensive tackle.
Yep. Offensive tackle.
The reason I'm asking is I'm going off of your sack prediction. If he's injured, they're going to have a hell of a time guarding Russo and Von Miller. Keep in mind, this is the first left-handed quarterback that we're playing in Tua. So not only is he not going to be able to see Von Miller coming off the backside, because that's what's going to happen now. Von Miller is going to hit his blind
That was a little
side.
bit of an evil giggle you had right there.
I mean, you've had for the last 2 weeks, the defense has been able to see Russo coming around the edge and sacking Russo. No, actually, it's the opposite now. The right-handed quarterback's been seeing Von Miller coming off the front, and then Russo off the back. Now it's going to switch it up a little bit. So now these defensive ends are going to be looking at the chop, coming up with a situation that they've never had to deal with before, is looking at the quarterback's back. So that's going to be something fun to watch.
Hell yeah. There are no offensive linemen on the inactives for Miami.
Okay. But
So
just
he
keep
is-
an eye out because Armstead is injured. He was questionable before this Sunday. So that'll be an interesting matchup. That'll be Russo against him.
Hell yeah. We got a couple minutes left. Paulette brings up a good point, and we haven't talked about this. Mr. Dawson Knox was flirting with that list for a little while this week, and he is active. So that'd be nice to see a big day from him, man. Especially especially for my fantasy team, to be honest. My dynasty.
If you're betting on Caesar or FanDuel or DraftKings, the Buffalo Bills offense and their weapons as far as receiving goes reminds me of the Breeze days. You can't pick a guy because they're just going to go somewhere else. So it's hard to pick these guys as far as fantasy and all that stuff. But Dawson Knox could very easily have a huge game for sure.
Any given week too. Any one of those guys could have a big game any given week, and Josh Allen has shown that he's more than willing to spread the ball around. I mean, judging off of last week, Stephon Diggs could not be covered. I mean, I don't know what Stephon Diggs ate before that game. I don't know if it was Wheaties. I don't know if it was corned beef hash. I don't know what it was, but Stephon Diggs brought a lunch, dinner, breakfast to that game, could not be covered. And if you're Josh Allen, you're just like, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. And Josh Allen's just literally taking what the defense gives him. He's not forcing anything. He's not overextending himself, overexerting himself, which I did think to an extent he did that against the Rams, but it was one of those games where it was like, we're really going to have some fun with this one because we were going to LA week 1. There was like, I guess, jitters that they had to just get off. And you know, week 2, week 3, we've really seen them evolve, I think, over the course of these last 2 weeks. And I think we're going to continue to see it. And Ken Dorsey is going to make everybody forget about Brian Dable if he hasn't already.
Who? Brian who?
Ryan is Swank. The stuff is called I'm Him juice. It's actually derived from Jalen Ramsey tears that he keeps in a jug.
Oh, you got me belly laughing on that one. Jalen Ramsey tears. I love that.
Jalen Ramsey tears, just like Space Jam, but it's the Jalen Ramsey tears.
That's where I was going with that little white Gatorade bottle.
That's awesome. That's awesome. The secret juice. Yeah, it's an awesome time to be a Bills fan, and it was awesome to see as many as what looked like 5,000 people, 10,000 people in South Beach just lined up, red, white, and blue, wearing gorgeous jerseys, unlike the baby vomit, disgusting color combination that Miami has. If I were them, I would just rock navy, orange with like a little bit of teal. They're going way above and beyond with this teal thing, and I just don't get it.
They might as well go shirts for skins, man.
But those colors scream Miami, though, don't they? I mean,
they do.
It fits the area, so you got to go with that.
I don't know.
And if I lived in Miami and I was a fan, I would be proud to wear those colors. But like when you see a Dolphins fan in Buffalo, it's like this just doesn't even fit like the rest of the look. You know,
you're
like,
wearing the wrong blue.
Yeah, you don't see people with beards in Miami, and Western New Yorkers wearing beards with Dolphin stuff on. It's like, what? Go down to South Beach and stay there. You know.
That is a hot take by Mr. Ryan Thomas that no Dolphin fan can grow a beard.
It is. True.
Yeah,
Unless they
can't do it.
They got to get hormone therapy for that stuff.
I don't know. I think it's crazy that they changed their logo, right? Because like they updated their logo. Because I'm like pining for the old like goofy smiling dolphin with the helmet.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm pining for that because the new one just looks so much sissier. The
dolphin has like a smile on its face. It's like I'd want the dolphin to have like fangs or something.
Yeah,
like
even
though that wouldn't really make sense. I don't know. It just doesn't look intimidating at all.
This new logo.
You can't make a dolphin look intimidating.
No, this new logo looks like something out of a Lisa Frank like notebook from when we were in high school or whatever, middle school.
It reminds me of the Little Mermaid a little bit. You know, like a Disney cartoon. I don't know.
Cute.
I want to feel what the Bills fans feel.
Are you singing? Is that what the show has come to? You're singing Little Mermaid songs, parodying Little Mermaid songs.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. All right, guys, we got 9 minutes. We'll hit it up after these final thoughts. Go around the panel here, do that, say our goodbyes, and get to getting on this game. Mr. Ryan Thomas from the Thomas Takes Sportcast. He's going to tell you exactly where you can find him and his final thoughts on the day.
You're going to need to hop back into a time machine to summon the prime players of Larry Zonka, Mercury Morris, Bob Greasy for the Dolphins in order to win this one. As I said, the Bills winning this one big. I think I said 48. I'm going to stick to it. Why the hell not? 48 to, 17, 13? I can't remember, but this is going to be a blowout. When opportunity knocks, the Buffalo Bills, these Buffalo Bills, are going to answer. And I have a feeling that I went off there for a minute. I get a phone call. My bad. But I have a feeling that when opportunity knocks, the Bills are going to answer yet again, especially for this one. You got the national media praising the Dolphins as the next big thing. We're going to remind them that this is Buffalo's time. The time is now for the Bills to remain Super Bowl favorites week in, week out after we whoop the Dolphins. You guys can find me on Facebook, Thomas Take Sports Podcast, as well as YouTube and any and all audio podcasting platforms. Go Bills. Thank you guys for having me on once again, and I will see you next week.
Hell yeah. Scooter Magooter.
I might just leave the building, guys.
There you go.
Do it.
Leave the building.
All right.
Have fun. Go Bills, my friend.
Go Bills. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
No problem. See you, brother.
So, guys, I would hate for any Bills Mafia fan to come to the show and think that we're homers big time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way that we presented this show, we have no problems with our offense. Our defense is going to be fine, and our score predictions are a big gap in between. There's a reason for that. It's not because we're big-time homers. It's because we just played 2 weeks against the defending NFL Super Bowl champions and last year's first overall seed in the playoffs, right? We're still that team. And we're playing the Miami Dolphins, who just beat the New England Patriots. And they shouldn't have beat the Ravens, but the Ravens fell apart in the fourth quarter for a 21-point lead, gave that up for a loss. So it's not that it's a 2-0 versus a 2-0, but it's a 2-0 team in the Buffalo Bills that have beat those teams versus a 2-0 Miami Dolphins team that barely squeaked 2 games out. And 2 was obviously we've seen as preseason. So we're realistic. We for sure are. We're biased a little bit, yes. But we have so much faith in our Buffalo Bills, so much faith in our coaches, our team, our culture, that we don't think that they're going to miss a beat when they come in with a injury-riddled defense. I think we'll be just fine. My final thought, guys, is we enjoy every week as it is. We have 53-man roster. There's a reason for that. There's 53 people on this roster that can contribute. And tonight's the night. This afternoon is the afternoon where the guys that have to replace those other guys are going to stand up, they're going to do what they have to do, play their football, play Bills football, and come out with a win. So I'm sticking to my score prediction. Enjoy the game. If you get frustrated, that's okay. The game, you got to play every Sunday, and that's what happens on Sundays. But expect the Bills to come out and not skip a beat against these Miami Dolphins. It's time to slap the Dolphins in the mouth, make them realize, like I said before, that, hey, guys, you got a lot of work to do to compete with our Buffalo Bills. 3-0 after this week. Let's go hit up the Ravens. Enjoy your 1 o'clock p.m. game. Hit up the live game thread that goes on. I'll be putting that on shortly after the show. We leave comments during it. And we feed on each other back and forth, and we talk during the whole 4 hours. So go Bills. Go Bills Mafia. Be loud for us that can't be there, and enjoy it for sure.
Hell yeah. We got sorry we had to change kind of the layout here a little bit. We got a little echoing going on. I'm sorry. I promise I'm going to keep it short. Big up to everybody that's came and joined us, and all the new viewers and the OGs and everybody who supported 24/7 BUFvMIA over the last 3 seasons that we've been doing this. This is the 2nd season of Sunday Sessions. Thank you guys so much for contributing, and like I said, man, just being supportive. A crazy turnout. Please tell your friends. Come join us every Sunday before the game. We'll end a half hour before kickoff usually. Usually it is 11:30 to 12:30, 1 p.m. Sunday kickoff time. But we did have those primetime games that got in the way, so we did them a little earlier. But yeah, you can do that. You can join the K-Gun Report which is our weekly show where we dissect the previous week's game and we go into the next week's game. And if you join this Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, me, myself, and Scott and Jared Reed for the K-Gun Report and leave a comment, you could be entered to win this right here, a Tremaine Edmonds mini helmet signed. I'm sure that there's a COA on that.
Yeah, there's a COA sticker right on the back here. Tremaine Edmonds signed mini helmet for sure.
Hell yeah.
Leave a comment during the live stream. You're entered for a chance to win that.
Yeah,
sure.
So if you come and comment on Tuesday, right here, same place you're watching right now, either Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, or Twitter, if you leave a comment, we will draw on the next week's show. So that'd be not this Tuesday, the following Tuesday, we'll draw the winner, and we'll post it on all platforms and everything. But all you got to do is leave a comment, and you're entered to win it. And that's something that we like to do. We're also sponsored by TSE, and we're getting some sweet giveaways to get out to you guys here soon. But yeah, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff. And shit, man, we're going to beat the hell out of the Miami Dolphins today. Be well and go Bills.
Got my chili and my pizza logs getting ready. Go Bills.
Well, there's only two of us, so I'm going to say it again. Go Bills!
This is a dangerous group.